Since I've undoubtedly triggered some of you, let me just pause before you just finish typing that sentence in the comments and hitting send, telling me what an awful person I am. Yes, obviously that was an exaggeration. The all-new Epiphone Crestwood Custom is most certainly not a garbage-worthy guitar. It is an incredibly high-value for the money guitar that sounds great with one undeniable fatal flaw. Welcome back to the channel. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, whatever you do, don't subscribe. Don't do it. I'm bad at guitar. I'm not a good actor. I'm mean to people that comment. So today I'm going to be going over the all-new Epiphone Crestwood Custom. Very excited about these reissues. If you're interested, I did do a video on the Epiphone Coronet, which you can watch. There's a link in the description below. Something's possibly on your screen right now. There's a bunch of ways to watch it. So this is going to be sort of a fast-paced review of this guitar where I will cover the build quality, the playability, how it sounds, and then finally what I think is really the fatal flaw of this guitar. Let me just go over the specs really quickly while I show you some guitar porn. Sound good? Now the guitar's body is made out of mahogany, just like the neck. The fretboard material is Indian laurel with a 12-inch radius, and the neck shape is a medium C. The nut width is 1.692 and the scale length is 24.7. I will say that compared to the Coronet, this neck has a slightly more rounded C feeling, so it fills the hand just a tiny bit more. The nut material is Graph Tech Newbone. The bridge and tailpiece are Locktone Tune-O-Matic with a Trematone Vibrato tailpiece. The tuners are Epiphone Deluxe Vintage with ivory buttons, kind of that Clouson look. And the pickups are both Epiphone Pro Mini humbuckers, which sound great. It has 2-volume, 2-tone, and a 3-way toggle pickup switch. Now I'm assuming the inlays are going to inspire the love-hate thing from the interwebs, as they have those Epiphone ovals. I personally think they're kind of cool. So let's dive right in to the build quality. Now, much like the Coronet, I was very surprised at how, I guess I shouldn't say surprised. I did review an Epiphone SG like 8 or 9 months ago, and it was really well made. Like what you get for the money with Epiphone, I think, is one of the better bangs for your bucks, if that makes sense. The fit and finish is great. There's no dings, scuffs, paint where it shouldn't be, nothing like that. The only real thing that I would complain about on this one is that the action is a little bit high, like the Coronet. The frets are sharp, like the Coronet, although this one, the frets are much, much nicer than the Coronet. Whoever put this one together, well done. Now the playability is where things get a little bit hairy for me personally. Overall, it plays really, really well. The neck feels good, the frets feel good. They're not nearly as gritty and rough as they are on the Coronet. I feel like I would have to do much less to this guitar to get it playing and feeling really, really nice. And even though this is substantially heavier than the Coronet, it's still a lightweight guitar. It comes in at right about 7.5 pounds. So it feels great. The trem system works surprisingly well. It's very Bigsby-ish. And even though I'm not personally a huge tremolo fan, I personally really like the feel of the resistance of the spring. And it just lets me be a little bit more subtle, but also precise with kind of that wavy sound that I like to get, rather than just kind of like the sloppy trem arms that you definitely run into on other guitars. I like the shape of this neck. It's a little bit thicker. It's more of a rounded C than like a slim taper, which the Coronet kind of feels like. So it does fill out the hand a little bit more, which I personally prefer. This is not a Speed Demon shredder neck by any stretch of the imagination, but it's great for chording. And for those of you who can do it, lead work. As far as tuning stability goes, it is quite good. You have to retune it a little bit, but I did a live stream the other day where I just dive bombed this as much as you can dive bomb this type of a guitar, and it came right back into tune and did a really good job. But there is, unfortunately, one fatal flaw that just kind of kills the experience of this guitar for me in terms of playability, which I'll get to in a second. But first, let me just quickly walk through some tones. let's do it. Let's face the bitter truth about the Epiphone Crestwood Custom. The control layout sucks. But I think, as you can tell, with the cable, with the guitar plugged in, you can't reach your tone controls, like almost at all. There's none of this going on. You have to kind of come in and do this. Even getting here is a little bit complicated just because of the way the trem and the bridge setup is configured. And the three-way switch, like, forget it. Like, you're constantly like fighting the guitar to change anything that you want, and it's so annoying. And for me, because I don't play with a trem that much, most of the time I just want it out of the way. And so I normally just push down or let it go, like a lot of other guitars. That's just what I'm used to. I'm not saying that's the only way to do it, but that's what I'm used to doing. And as you can see, it completely covers the controls again. It's completely in the way. And if I bring it back, now if I want to grab it, it's awkward and it's strange, and this tailpiece is in the way. So for me, this control layout is just a dumpster fire. And that is certainly disappointing, to say the least, because it is such a fantastic guitar, especially for the money. It sounds great, plays really nice. You wouldn't have to do a whole lot to this guitar to make it feel like a much more expensive version of itself. Now, I'm sure the purists would absolutely lose their minds, but if you move the input jack to like a telly location, something like right along here, that would help immensely. If you went to one tone and one volume control, that would be a big help, because it would kind of clean up some of this, and move the three-way switch up here somewhere. I think there's other ways to do it. Again, that wouldn't be the traditional perfect way to do it, but it would make playing this guitar so much more enjoyable and just accessible. If you want to check out the SG video, I will link to that. And of course, I will link to the Coronet video. I have more stuff coming out, so make sure to subscribe. Now, go play guitar.